Hey y'all, we're gonna do something completely different this time. My wife needs a small fabrication project done, and I thought it would be the perfect example to show just how easy it can be to do your first welding and fabrication project. And just like she does so consistently for me, this week I'm gonna support her goals.
Na 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 na, na 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 na, na na na, I'm gonna take my time. Well, I'm a rolling slow these days.
It is a hot Texas summer day, and I'm in the shop today with a helper, my very favorite person in the world, my wife, and we are building one of her projects. This is a trellis, or an expansion of a trellis that I built about a year or two ago, I guess. Anyway, so we want to be able to get the vines to grow up a little bit more, a little easier, right? And they're just not grabbing onto the legs, so we're going to expand the trellis downward. I think this is actually a really good first project for this welder, the Multimatic 220, where I'm going to use a little bit of TIG welding and MIG welding, and probably some 110 even. But in any case, I'm just going to drag this thing around. It's a great project. Little projects like these are perfect places to start on your first welding project, where you get to practice fitment, and you're building something it's not a car, right? Only a vine is depending on this project. And we might have to take a couple of breaks here and there to enjoy some cold iced tea because it is hotter to match head. Okay, first task on the list is prepping the material. Like I said, the trellis has been out for a while, so it's kind of rusty. And if you remember the episode where we talked about how to get rid of rust, this is my favorite, right? Strip it disc. But 3M came up with this years ago, right? It's whatever their strip it is called. And Ms. Willomet is going to go and take this and she's going to strip all of the rust, and she's outfitted to do it. Now there's a respirator under there, right? Just make sure that when you're making a bunch of dust that you take care and protect yourself, protect your lungs, live to fabricate another day. You ready, darling?
1, 2, 3.
My wife loves to garden and takes pride in cultivating spaces for us to spend time. Really, from vegetables to flowers, she does it all. But I caution, do not confuse her with the soft-palmed, fair-weather type. Like many Texas gardeners, she toils in the heat keeping her plants alive, and, well, really as a woman of her own mind, she does not shy away from the hard work.
Got to find a way. If you want
okay, while she's getting that area prepped, I'm going to go ahead and build frames that hold the, I always call it hog wire, but it's a little 1/8-inch wire mesh. It's real cheap, got it from Tractor Supply. You could probably get it from Lowe's and Home Depot, but Tractor Supply had it in stock. It'll go pretty fast.
If you want to love, got to hit your heart. If you want to love.
Having a frame cut is, sure, a big time saver for me, but it can also be real helpful if you are just starting out and don't have a mitering chop saw or a bandsaw or anything like that. So do think of your local metal shop because they almost certainly offer these kinds of cutting and shearing services. Don't hold back on talking to them in your project. Usually they're pretty happy to help, and all you need is either a simple sketch or sometimes just a description of what you want.
Got to choose your way.
And I am spoiled by my fixture table, but it's not necessary for your first project. These little speed squares I'm using will work just as well when clamped directly to the material with C-clamps. Just be sure to have your work clamped throughout the entire weld process so that the legs don't move around and you lose the desired angle. Also, temporarily tacking braces from leg to leg is another good trick that I've used in the past to maintain the angle throughout the welding process. I'm just doing a basic pedal pulse here with 120 amps of peak current and flowing my filler into that corner. I'm trying to certainly fill the little gap that's in the miter, but then also just making sure that we get good penetration, and I'm able to kind of grind this down for radius a little bit later.
Take a look at your frame. Voila. Does that work for you?
Got to sing your soul. If you want to know.
This is mostly 4x6, but there's these little ones down here. Do you just want it to be the big ones? Okay.
Very good job carefully making sure your voice is not on camera. Recorded for the internet. Alright, let's lay it up on here. I see you will not fall for my tricks. This is an oddball shape, and I'm just moving this around inside the frame to make it symmetrical all the way around. The vines don't care, right? They'll grow, but it'll bother me if it's not symmetrical.
And look, while I know this might be my OCD coming out, it's also just being detailed and, well, making sure that the lower part of this frame and trellis is symmetrical to the upper, the one that's already there. I guess it's kind of one of those details that, if missed, would only be obvious after the fact.
And one of the coolest things that I really like about this new welder is how easy it is to switch over to MIG welding mode. It's just a click of the torch and bam, you're off and running. Now, it doesn't take much to weld this hog wire to the frame. It's really just a bunch of tack welds, and I'm spreading the heat to avoid, even with tack welds, putting too much heat into one side of the frame and getting in a bow. So we're gonna put this back up in the, notch it in the corner, and they're gonna use this as a block underneath with the clamp. So hold your end up. Getting everything fit and ready for work outside is its own effort. Like when you get to this point, it really just comes down to using lots of tools to get the right fit. When in this case, that's a bunch of clamps. Now, I also switched the Multimatic over to 110 because I'm just welding 14 gauge and 1/8 inch, and well, that's well within the range for 110 power. How many clamps did I bring out here? One short of enough. From here on, it's really just trying to find a comfortable position and laying down the welds in a semi-strategic fashion so that, well, you keep things square as you go along and don't box yourself into a corner. For a first welding and fabrication project, well, it just doesn't get much better than this. See, you get to practice fit up and plenty of good welding, both TIG and MIG, and really, I got to make something useful for my wife. Now, if you recall from a few episodes back, I mentioned that I was going to first build her a gate. But for those of you with even a passing familiarity with honey-do lists, you know that those lists can change order at any time and never really get shorter. And I'm glad for that. One of the great joys of learning to fabricate and weld and, well, generally make things with your hands is, well, it's being able to use that skill to support the goals of those whom you love the most. So, I'd say just go find yourself a good starter project. Get lots of practice, and keep your eyes open for that opportunity to play a contributing role in your partner's goals. Thank y'all for watching, and until next time, take good care.